Hello and welcome to In Search of Purpose with Sal Hanvey. Hello and welcome to Sal Hanvey's podcast, In Search of Purpose. And today I have the great pleasure of introducing to you no other than Garry Jackson. Hi, Garry.
Hi, Sal. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. It's a lovely sunny day outside, so I cannot complain. What about you?
You know, everything's dead on. Everything's good. The sun's shining, and well, everything's not good, obviously, but we're doing good in the midst of all this madness.
Yeah, you're taking the good out of a bad situation.
Yeah, well, we're trying our very, very best.
Yeah, you're trying your very, very best, is right. Garry, the reason I got you on the podcast today for a lot of reasons, but you know, you're almost like a local celebrity with regards to the sorts of things that you do. You started off doing Barber. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to tell people. You're going to tell people. Tell us a bit about how you started off in the business that you have at the moment.
I started off as a barber.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, we're going back a long time. When I was, it's always been about music for me, Sal. You know, music's always, live music in particular has always been what made me tick. So I'm the baby in our family. I've got two older brothers and an older sister. So I grew up in a house where there was always music being played, the Stones and the Beatles and Dylan and all the rest of it. So consequently, I was music mad and football mad as a teenager. It was always about music. And growing up during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, there wasn't really any bands that came to Belfast to play. So basically what I'm saying is that I couldn't wait to get out of here. When I was 18, 19 years old, I had to get out of here because of the whole sectarian situation. It just wasn't for me. And I wanted to get out of here and I wanted to go and hear live music. So I went off to live in London. I lived in London from about 1980, 81 to about 1987. So I came back to Northern Ireland in 1987. I was tired and I'd done bar work when I was away in England, when I was away in London. Had a wonderful time. Was like a kid in a candy shop, but always sort of knew in the back of my mind somewhere that I wanted to come back to Belfast and to Northern Ireland. So whenever I came back, I had no clue what I was going to do. When I came back here in 1987, opportunities still weren't great. There wasn't a lot of employment and blah, blah, blah. So I was at a bit of a loose end. I didn't know what. I got a couple of bar jobs, carrying on what I'd been doing over in London. But you couldn't really rely on them here. There wasn't. It wasn't like you were getting a set amount of hours every week. And so I was at a wee bit of a loose end. I wanted to do something different, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was in the Barbers one day getting my hair cut. A lovely Barbers at the time. It was run by the boys from Maxx, if you remember any of those. That creative whirlpool that was Maxx. Well, they had a wee barber shop which was opposite Botanic train station, underneath, down below the train line. And I was in there one day getting there, and I had a wee bit of an epiphany. The crack was good. Saturday afternoon, the boys were all in full flight, cutting everybody's hair, and I just sort of looked around and I thought, I could do that. And it was a wee bit of a light bulb moment. So long story short, I went along to a guy called Ted Johnson in the Continental Barbershop in Great Victoria Street. And I spoke to Ted, and he was very, very kind. He took me in as his apprentice, even though I was about 23. Hold on, what age was I? I would have been about 24 years old. So I was a bit late starting as an apprentice. But he gave me a wonderful training. He taught me, and that's how I first got into barber.
But it's funny how you knew, even though you had never cut hair and styled hair, how you automatically, like when I look at what you do, I just think, oh, I'd make a butcher's of that person's hair. I would just mess it up. I would end up doing a big zigzag line and think, oh my God, or I get scissor friendly and kind of cut more than what I would been meaning to? How did you just know?
Well, the whole punk rock thing. I mean, when I was sort of 14, 15, I got big into my punk rock and all the creativity that went along with that. So we would have been cutting each other's hair. You know, we'd have been giving each other Mohicans, and
Very good.
we would have been giving each other sort of mohawks, myself and my mates, and then, you know, even skinheads with the, you know, with the wee track lines and everything in them. And
Yeah, so it's
so
quite detailed actually.
the creativity was always there, and that sort of came through the music, through the punk as well. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I just thought I needed an outlet for my creativity, and barbering has just been very, very good to me. It's been very, very kind to me. In the last lot of years, barbering has really, really gone through the roof as a creative uh, force. There's so much good stuff that are coming out of barbershops all over the world, and with the internet now, and with the interaction between all the barbers, and it's a real hub of. It's very, very exciting. I mean, obviously, we would have bands and everything playing in our barbershop.
Yeah, that's right. I want to actually get to talk about that in just a minute. Just with regards to the actual barbering side of things. And so we met, I think, 1996 or 7.
Yeah, probably would have been.
Uh,
What do you do then, Sal?
I was 17.
Yeah,
So you kind of went to London when I was born.
yeah.
Yes, Michelle, your daughter, and me went to Tech together to do theatre studies, A level, and that's when we met. And we would have come into your barbershop back then, before computers, before internets. Well, I mean, it was about just, but we weren't obviously, you know, in the midst of it. And you know, no phones. It was just literally you were doing a really good, decent, hard-earned job, earning a living, right?
Fair
And
enough.
and that was Gary's barbershop, which still is, and is in the heart of Holywood, County Down. So what leads me on to say is that it started as that, but it's developed into much, much more. So tell us a bit about how you've developed into other avenues within that premises and concept.
Well, I think a huge part of that is through Mary as well.
Okay.
I mean, Mary and I, we are a double act, you know.
Oh,
But
I know.
Mary is the she is the director of our festival in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So she would have organised for all the bands to come and play. It was her brainwave. It was her baby. She's very much the creative force behind it. But it also gave me the opportunity to invite some of these bands to come and play in the shop.
Yeah, like sort of small, intimate sessions I've actually been
Yeah.
privy to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, it was just a wonderful opportunity to use our barbershop as an outlet for another one of my big loves in life, my passion for music. I mean, if guys come into the barbershop, to me, um, it's just wonderful to marry the creativity of the musicians in the barbershop, and it works an absolute treat because the barbershop is the hub of any good community. It should be. It's very much a place where people do come to hang out and
No,
to
it's
have
great.
fun. And having the Alabama Three coming to play in the shop was a real thrill for me.
And
Because
when was
of
that, Gary?
pardon?
When was that?
Well, the first year that Mary organised the festival was 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So 2014. Mary said to me she'd been thinking about she wanted to get some festival going in Hollywood because we used to have a festival about 15, 20 years ago. We used to have the old Hollywood Blues and Jazz Festival in the town. And it
That's
was
right.
always, but then it sort of fizzled out. The guys that organised it, they were getting on a wee bit. They were good
Mm-hmm.
age and their health wasn't great. And Brian Dempsey from the Apex Jazz Band and Walter Love from Radio Ulster. All the jazz heads, they were all, as I say, they were getting on a wee bit. And it sort of, it needed young blood to really get it sort of up and going again. And that's what Mary tried to do. she tried to carry on the good work that those guys had done.
Mm.
So in 2014, she said to me, Gary, do you think that we could sell, she'd been looking at marquees specifically for like a venue for the festival. And she said to me, the marquees, there are about 400 people. She said, do you think we could sell 400 tickets for the Alabama 3? And I said, well, I thought about it and I said, yeah, why not? Why not? You know, we'll take a chance. So Mary, she got it up and running. She got the Alabama 3 booked, and she's a real dynamo, a real tour de force. Once she puts her mind on something,
Oh yeah.
she makes it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we got the Alabama 3. They played the festival on the Saturday night, and the following morning, unbeknown to me, Mary had already had a wee word with them, and she had suggested coming to do an intimate session in the barbershop. So this was a surprise for me. I didn't actually know anything about this. And the boys, they what would we say? They're sociable animals.
Yeah.
So they left they came back to ours after the gig, and we had a few of our friends there, and then the band. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning when we were leaving ours.
Sociable, to say the very least.
So, unbeknown to me, Mary had it organised with them to be back here again at the barbershop 4 hours later at 12 midday. So, now what happened, it was really, really wonderful. What happened was I turned up at the barbershop at about 20 to 12. And you can imagine, not even 4 hours sleep. I was a wee bit tired, what was that? And Rob Love, he from the Alabama 3, he turned up, and the two of us were. I suggested, look, we're a wee bit early. Rob, should we nip over to the wee football club across the street and have a wee livener just to wake us up a wee bit? You see? So he said yes, that was a wonderful idea. So that year for the festival, Mary had organised all the bars and all the places, all the restaurants in Holywood. They all had different blues musicians and jazz musicians playing around all the hostelries. So whenever we went into the football club, who was there but Rob McCulloch,
brilliant,
and Gordy McAllister, two of Ulster's finest blues musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a wee word with them, and I said, guys, I have Larry Love with me here from the Alabama 3. Explained the situation. I said, would it be possible for him to warm up a wee bit? And they said, absolutely, that would be wonderful. Brilliant. So he got up on stage. We ordered his Guinness and his Jack Daniels for him in true rock and roll style, and he had his dark glasses on, and he sat on the little stage. There was about maybe 80 or 90 hardcore blues fans there. He had a great audience, and he just totally blew us all away with a wonderful John Prine song, the Sound of Loneliness.
Wow.
And he also did a Johnny Cash number, Folsom Prison Blues. So what a wonderful way to start your Sunday morning.
That is absolutely amazing. Himself
and the other members of the band, well, three of the Larry and oh goodness, Mark Sams, and Nick Reynolds from the band. They came into the shop, and the three of them performed about 4 or 5 wonderful Alabama 3, including Woke Up This Morning. And whenever they did the theme tune from The Sopranos, whenever they did that, they name-checked Gary's barbershop. So I was absolutely thrilled. So yes, what a wonderful, wonderful, very, very exciting for me to have bands playing in the shop.
And then as time went on, I ended up growing a beard, because when I met you back in the 90s, there was no beard. So tell us about this this presence that has become you.
The beard has taken on a whole entity all of its own. I grew the beard probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
Good move, Garry, good move.
What I can honestly say, Sal, is that it was just totally unexpected. The beard has very much just taken on its own entity. It has become our brand, if you like.
Well, yes, that's the point. Because now you're tell us a bit about the suits, the tailored suits, the products, the waxes, all the sort of man beard stuff, the rest.
Well, I grew the beard, and then out of the blue, I got a phone call from the lovely Kathy Martin, who runs the PR company, and she has a model agency as well. So Kathy and Mary would have known each other. They would have been associates through different people. And Kathy said to Mary, she says, Mary, that big lad of yours, would you ever fancy doing a bit of modelling? Now, Sal, I mean, I was 52 years old.
I know it came late to you, but you know what? You took it by the horns.
And being in my early 50s and somebody asks you, would you like to do a bit of modelling? I mean, what on earth do you think? What do you take out of that?
You say yes and sign on the dotted line.
I was like, what? What do you mean modelling? So Kathy said, well, look, she said her client was Forestside Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
And they were doing a big autumn and winter campaign for all the clothes shops up in the centre. Lovely guy called Cutler. What's Lee? Sorry, I took a wee mental block there. Lee Cutler is the manager up at the centre there, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. He has a huge amount of creativity going on up in the shopping centre there as well.
I know.
So, with
some cookery demos in the middle of it.
His shopping centre is very different from a lot of other ones.
It is.
He has so much wonderful creativity flowing through it with music, and he has been a very, very good partner for the festival as well. Him and Mary have got a very good relationship as well. But he was the client, the shopping centre, and they wanted something very weird, wacky and out of the box, and so that was how I ended up getting. So what Kathy said to me, would you be interested in doing this for the ad? And I said, well, what are we talking about? And she said, the big billboards, those huge big billboards up on the Boucher Road.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, okay, it's surely what harm could there be in it? I thought it would be a bit of fun, and if nothing else, it'll get people talking about the barbershop. So I had a bit of a mental image as to what this process was going to be like. I thought that there was going to be a lot of jazz hands, and I thought there was going to be a lot of drama. So in my naivety, that's what I thought that I was getting myself involved in. But I have to say, what a wonderful group of people. All the guys, the video guys, and all the people. It was such a professional setup, and they were all so lovely. Everybody involved in the whole process was lovely. So I came away thinking to myself, that was a wonderful process. Those guys are really, they're very, very nice, and they're very, very professional. And I thought I really enjoyed that. That was good fun, and I never expected anything else. And then the next thing, Kathy got back to me again, and she said to me, how would you like to do a bit of modelling for, I said, what are we talking about? She said, clothes, nice, lovely top-end suits. And I thought, okay, can't do any harm. And she said, how do you feel about catwalk? I went, oh my goodness. This is getting more and more bizarre by the minute.
Brilliant.
So we did that. She said to me, look, we've got a different, Kathy organises Belfast Fashion Week. So she said, this year, for the first time ever, we're going to have models involved that are in their 50s. How would you fancy? And I thought, yeah, let's do it for the 50-year-olds,
Brilliant.
And that was a new experience as well. And then since that, I've had a whole stack of stuff.
But you did a class photo shoot, I saw, which was with the suits, and it was like you were sitting like in a chair in almost like a waste ground. Was that something?
Well, that was going off on the wonderful thing about whenever you bring all this creativity together and you bring creative people together, you get this big. I refer to it as the ball of love.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you bring all these creative people together, things go off on all sorts of different tangents.
Yeah.
So now I will digress once more. Going back, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I was contacted by a fellow barber from Liverpool called Garry Spencer. And Garry is another very, very creative guy, but he organises barber and networking events, big events, where there are all over the country, in fact, all over Europe. And he's done ones in Holland and Germany. But what he does is he calls his outfit the Great British Barber Bash.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll bring together maybe 2,000 barbers.
Wow.
And there'll be guys who would be very, very well known through their Instagram pages and their Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys would have a tremendous amount of following within the barbering community.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you bring these guys and you have them demonstrate, you have them doing sort of haircuts and the likes of the Ulster Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Garry organised a barber bash. The first one he got in touch with me about was, he said to me, do you know a cool venue in Belfast where we could do a barber bash?
Mm-hmm.
Relatively small, intimate. He said, I don't want anything too sterile, like a hotel sort of.
Yeah,
He says, I want something with a bit of character.
Yeah.
So I immediately thought the OES Centre would be perfect for it.
Yeah.
And obviously with the background of the OES Centre and, with all the music and everything. So, long story short, Garry got in touch with me and he said, look, we're going to do an event. He said, how many chairs has your barbershop got? And I said, it's got 8 chairs. And he said, right, how would you fancy doing an event on a Sunday? We'll bring over these very well-known barbers to your shop. We'll invite people to come, and like an audience who will pay to come and watch these barbers doing their thing. And I said, that would be a wonderful idea, Garry. I thought that would be good fun. But then I thought to myself, how can I sort of take a lot more creativity out of that situation and, sort of spin it out a wee bit more. So what I decided to do was a couple of these very, very well-known barbers I would be quite friendly with.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to the guys, look, do you fancy doing a wee video where we'll head up into the cathedral quarter that morning before you do the class? And I said, why don't we get you dressed up in some nice suits and we'll go and we'll make a video. We'll get you out a nice bespoke tailoring and we'll go and do a video on the streets of Belfast up in the cathedral quarter. So that's when I got involved with a guy called D. Graham. Mm-hmm. Now, D. Graham is the guy who makes these beautiful handmade suits, these bespoke suits.
I've seen them.
So I got in touch with D. He's from down County Tyrone. He has his business in Dungannon. I got in touch with D and I said, D, we're doing an event with these barbers. How do you fancy getting on board? So that was the first time that I got on board with D. D's stuff is absolutely wonderful. His business has just really, really taken off. His suits are now worn by Conor McGregor, Chris Eubanks, all sorts of. He's very much into the boxing, so he has a lot of contacts in the boxing fraternity. So
brilliant.
By bringing all these people together, by bringing all the young video guys on board, by bringing and everybody pulls their talents, anything really is possible. So all this creativity just sparks off in all these different directions.
Exactly. No, it's great. It is. It's great to see. You're utilising the space and the creativity between the two. I mean, these are a force to be reckoned with. It's absolutely fantastic.
Excuse me 1 wee second. I'm just going to grab my bottle of water.
You do that.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about how you're feeling at the minute with the whole lockdown situation, and the fact that you're not able to necessarily, do those things the same way. You're not able to utilize those potentials. Do you find that a break is good? Because, when you and I have talked in the past, you talk about the fact that you're open, is it 364 days of the year or something absolutely crazy? How many?
Well, we open the shop 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. We don't close, with the exceptions of public holidays.
Yeah. So how are you feeling? How's this all going now?
Well, I am very much missing all my customers.
Yeah.
I am a people person. I like people.
Yeah, me too.
I'm very, very fortunate that the vast majority of people who come into our shop to get a haircut, I actually like them, Sal.
It helps, doesn't it?
It really does. And I can't even overemphasize that point. There's people, as soon as they put their hand on my door and they open, and I see them coming into the shop, straight away it brings a smile to my face because I like that person and I'm going to enjoy having a chat with them.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very much missing all that social interaction.
But isn't it nice in a way? Not nice. None of this is nice. I mean, I keep reiterating this point. I mean, we're not in any which way saying this is a good situation with the coronavirus, but isn't it nice that you can sort of step back and really, appreciate exactly what it is that you love, but what it is that you do, and then B, yearn for that reconnection once we're able to get back to some form of normality. It's like trying to use it as a bit of reflection time and to know how much you appreciate it, and also getting a bit of a break, Garry, because you're very much like me. You're always on the go, and it's the sort of thing where we are quite high energy. We're capable beings, but it is nice to get a bit of a break too. Do you think?
Well, I think we're in the situation that we're in, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think you always have to come to a place of acceptance, and you have to accept the situation for what it is. Now, I consider myself, once again, to be very, very fortunate, because if you're going to be in this situation, if you're going to be in isolation away from the rest of the world, there's no other person that I would really want to be with apart from Mary.
That's handy.
So the two of us are, if you're going to be in this awful situation, then you have to make the best of it. And if I was without Mary, or if I was with other people that I didn't really want to be with, it would be a much, much worse situation. Yeah. So the fact that we are in this situation, and the fact that the two of us are together, and Mary takes after her mummy, and that she's a great cook and she's a great baker. So she's making lots of wonderful food. And her and I are taking advantage of going out for, we're trying to keep our fitness levels up as well. So we're doing our fitness, and we're very fortunate that we live in Holywood. We can nip down whenever there's not too many people about. We can do it, and we can get a nice walk in without really encountering too many other people.
Yeah,
so we are very.
You've got the wee dog, so you have to kind of get out and get the dog walked.
Well, wee Jimmy now doesn't get a lot of walking because he's 15 now. He doesn't need a lot of exercise, but I certainly need my exercise. I like to keep fit, and I like to keep everything moving. So from that point of view, we are very, very fortunate. I mean, obviously, we all have Netflix, and we're all binging on our Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And as I say, nice food. Jigsaws are the way forward. Jigsaws, yeah.
And you find love.
Pardon?
And you find love.
I found love? What do you mean?
And you find love.
Sorry, and you find love. Well, I've always enjoyed a wee jigsaw.
Have you?
So, jigsaws have gone through, it's hard to get them. Even going on eBay. There's been, who knew? There's been a big run on them. But Mary got a couple of cracking ones of like a record fair in an old record shop. So all the vinyls there with all the, the Jimi Hendrix albums and the Beatles albums and all the posters are around the wall for all the gigs and everything. So actually doing the jigsaw of things that we're interested in as well helps. But on a serious note, the good things that have come out of that are, the planet is probably getting a wee breather, isn't it? I
Yeah.
heard the, I heard the other day that the CO2 emissions, just the value in this break for the environment is just wonderful.
I
And
know.
you can hear all the birds, and you can see, Barry and I have seen foxes and rabbits, and that are all sort of coming back out again. So that is lovely, isn't it?
It is lovely, and I have a friend in Edinburgh, and he was just saying that when he was out for a walk in Edinburgh city centre, he said he found it very strange. Now he works for the Green Party. I had him on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, but he works for the Green Party, so he would be more in tune, I think, with this sort of stuff. But he said that he was literally walking down the street in Edinburgh, and the only thing he could hear was birds.
That would be quite strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah, in the city centre of Edinburgh, where
Wow.
you'd never hear a bird, or maybe at like 6 a.m, briefly, or
Uh-huh.
something like that. But it's remarkable, and even that picture of Delhi, that iconic picture now where you can see the mountains in the background of Delhi, they were always there, but they were so much out of reach, due to the congestion and the smog, and those kind of things make you really see, it's the sort of thing that environmentalists would only wish for, this idea of, I wonder what it would be like if we stripped the city of pollution for a couple of days, how long it would be until you could see something like that. And, they're getting to see something that they probably would only ever have wished for or fantasized about. So it can show the potential that's out there. But, I suppose the unfortunate thing is that, it will return, back to the way it was, but maybe it won't. Maybe this will be, an indicator of how things can change. But at the moment, everything's so ambiguous, isn't it, Gary? We just don't know one day to
Well,
the next.
my personal circumstances, I have no idea what our new version of normal is going to be.
No, and all your staff are just on standby waiting.
All our staff and the whole of the barbering community, the global community, are all waiting to see how on earth we're going to go about our job, with social distancing and with the amount of people in the shop and the amount of PPE that we're going to have to wear, etc., etc., etc. It definitely is, for us personally, it's going to be a very, very different working environment. In many ways, it's going to be like starting from scratch. I've been in business for over 30 years, and in many ways, it's just like starting again my business from scratch.
Yeah, but you will get the the old faithfuls and the reliables and the regulars and the people who can't wait to get back. But yes, I do appreciate what you say, because I mean, I'm a reflexologist and acupuncturist, and it's a touch therapy just like yourselves, and it is that kind of feeling of you're unable to connect in that way with working on the feet, working on the body. So I completely appreciate exactly where you're coming from. None of us really know in that regard how it's going to go.
Yep, nobody knows.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do on a personal level is just trying to take the whole process just in my stride. Really, there's nothing I can do to change it. So you just have to try to. It doesn't help when all this stuff comes out in the media.
I know.
A couple of weeks ago, they were talking about this traffic light system.
Yeah.
Uh, that and according to these reports in various media, barbers and hairdressers were going to be some of the first ones to go back to work. And then yesterday, the Sun newspaper, the good old Sun, the good old current Bun, they came out with barbers and hairdressers aren't going to be back to work for 6 months. 6 months. Now, my phone was pinging like mad yesterday because loads of people were sending me the link, and I got it from quite a few people that I know. And I opened this up and I thought, oh my goodness. And then I went on to some of the barber and Facebook pages, the group, and everybody in the barbering community are all talking about this. Imagine that's what you woke up to yesterday, finding out that the reports that you're not going to be going back to work for 6 months plus.
I know
Imagine,
that, and
imagine what that does to your head, you know?
I know it's trying to kind of keep it all in perspective and try and it is literally a day change, you know, a day at a time because things can change so much. I mean, 3 days ago that wasn't heard of. Now that is. Maybe in 3 days' time it'll be only 3 months or
Well,
longer. We just don't know.
I opened up the link and I read it in great depth and in great detail. And this report, it says medical experts and government officials, but it doesn't actually give any of these experts names. It doesn't give any of the politicians names.
I
So
know.
I would like to know where that has originated from. You know, you tend to see things on the internet or whatever, and people just automatically take things for granted, don't they? They
Well,
just
yeah,
go, oh, well, that must be the. So I think what we all have to do is just be careful at what we digest and what we take in, and
exactly. Because it's a lot of it's just sensationalism and scare tactics, and a lot of it is real, and it's trying to sift out what's real in comparison to what's being fabricated. To an
that's
extent.
a bit of a matter, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Um, when it comes to like getting back to some form of normality, and we all have ideas of what we want to do, is there any particular restaurant that you cannot wait to get
Oh,
back
oh my word!
to?
Uh, our favorite wee restaurant, our go-to restaurant now, and there's so many.
Oh, I
And
know.
there's so many wonderful, wonderful restaurants. But Mary and I, we've got a wee soft spot for Noble.
Oh, same here.
You know, a wee soft spot for it. I love the guys. I love the atmosphere.
Yeah,
We we Anna that works down there always looks after us so well,
and it's lovely. Yeah, and you know, we actually had been.
Andrea as well. Andrea and Anna are
Ah,
just
yeah, yeah.
they're just sweethearts, aren't they?
You know, we'd never been there until you and Mary invited us.
That's it. Do you know what? We're spoiled for choice in Hollywood. We've got so many good places.
Exactly.
I mean, I have to give Rayan House a shout as well. Have
Oh,
you been up? Have you been up to Rayan? Have you?
again, after you recommended it. You
Uh,
know, so we went to these places on your recommendations, and honestly, we are blown away by both of them. We did that Titanic taster menu. It was unbelievable in Rayan House. So yeah, they're two really great places. I can't wait to get back to them either, Gary. And just one final question before we round up here. So thanks again so much, you know, for taking the opportunity and time.
guilty for leaving out Fontana as well. Fontana's
I know, it's so
a
gorgeous.
wonderful restaurant as well,
Yeah,
isn't it?
so beautiful. But what's the one thing that you're going to do that you're not able to do at the moment, but you cannot wait to do whenever? Not restaurant or food, but what's the one thing you're just like, I cannot wait to do that when this is over or settled?
I am by my very nature a hugger.
Me too.
I hug people, and I know that I find shaking hands very formal and very sort of it's a wee bit.
I
I,
know.
I just like to, when I see you in person and the time is right, uh, it'll be just a pleasure to say, Sal, how are you? And
And
give
big
yourself
hug.
just give a big hug.
Oh, I know. Oh, I can't
So
wait.
I am missing hugging people,
I know, me too. I say
I
that.
hug my customers.
Oh yeah.
I hug my customers. Not all of them, but
I know it's like I say it's like oxytocin flowing. You know, we're needing a dose of the oxytocin because it's the hormone that's released when you hug.
absolutely.
You
What
know,
Mary, what Mary would say, Mary has lots of pearls of wisdom, but one of her great pearls of wisdom is that hug is, its very definition is a passing of strength from one to another.
mm,
So whenever you hug somebody, you're passing a bit of strength to them, So
that's really
I
good.
like that. I like that definition.
Well, that's definitely a good place for us to end the podcast. On that note, that's a great one, and you know, I can't wait for us all to get hugging again for sure. And Gary, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time again just to have a chat with me on this podcast. I really enjoyed it, as I'm sure many people have. Is there a particular place that people can check out online, sort of your general stuff?
Just our Facebook.
Yeah, so is it Gary's Barbershop?
Yeah, the thing, if anybody's looking for any of our stuff, just remember that there's 2 R's in Garry's. So it's GARRYS,
Yeah.
Barbershop. And we've got all our stuff. Most of it, we just really concentrate on Facebook now and Instagram as well, of course. We don't really bother much with YouTube anymore. We do have a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of the music stuff, but generally speaking, anything can be found on the Garry's Barbershop page.
Okay, great. Well, thanks again, Garry, and take care of yourself and each other, and we'll be meeting up soon for a hug.